Welcome to this Cobble Crushers ZRacing competition where I'll actually not be racing myself. Instead, I will stream a flight of dragons. A lot of my teammates are in this race and competing for the first place, not just in this individual race, but in the monthly series as well. A lot of our people have been doing quite well there. Le Capitan, I think, has won the individual Z Racing a few times over the last month, and the team competition has also been something we've been challenging quite well over the last month. So today we got a lot of the guys together so they can A, to make it a faster time by maybe pushing a little bit at the front and just have fun together. The route today is cobbled climbs, which is a quite interesting, quite punchy route with 3 climbs per round shortly after one another and very little rest time in between. So that's gonna make for interesting racing. On screen, you can see that I have source for Zwift, so you have some upgraded visuals. You have on the top left not just the power, but also the draft that people use and their average power. We have the group feature to see when there are some splits, and then the more detailed view for the field, where you can see all of our dragons marked and where you can see the watts per kilogram in addition to the power. This race will take roughly 25, 26 minutes. There's only 2 power-ups available, the anvil and the feather. Ideally, you want to save the feather for the final climb, but if you have an anvil, they are quite good to use on the descents. We are first going towards Libby Hill, which is around a minute, 1 minute 20 punchy climb on cobbles, followed by a quick descent, and then a super punchy steep climb up 23rd Street for maybe 30 seconds. Then you have another respite on the downhill, and then finally Governor Street climb, which is close to 2 minutes, including the false flat finish. So it is a lot of bursty situations right after one another. So saving power on the way and not wasting any energy by going off the front is important. But on the other hand, if our guys want to make this fast so that the final time is good, and as you can see, there are some of our guys using the anvil here, and that really drags out the field, but it also increases the speed, importantly. If our guys really want to make this a fast race, because the GC is decided by combining the 4 stages final time, then they need to push a little bit in the front. And I think the strategy is actually that some of the guys might not be competing for the finals themselves, so like for the individual race, and instead try to make it a little bit faster for everyone. I think Volker in particular, who we're watching right now, said, "Yeah, I might only have power for 5 minutes, but then I'll just push a little bit." In the field, as you can see, we have a lot of our guys. We have Niels, we have Dennis, Yannick, Jan, who's Le Capitaine. We have Benjamin and Simon and Julian. So it's eight, nine guys or something, including Volker. And then, interestingly, he has been in every stream that I've done in the last week. Joakim Lisson, for me, the best guy in all of Zwift right now, is also in the race. So that's gonna make for a really compelling finish to see what he will do. And I would be amazed if he doesn't win unless he's kind of taking a day off or whatever. If you've watched some of my recent recordings where I was racing, he really has incredible timing, great punch, and also the sustained power to just try and break people on a punchy climb and then stay away alone or in a small group. So if I had to bet money on who's gonna win, it would definitely be Joachim. In total, we have 43 people in this lead group going into Libby Hill now, which of course starts here with some very flat incline, just percent or two, and then when you enter the segment proper, you still only have 3-4% in the beginning, and then it really gets pretty steep pretty quickly. Up to cobbles, you have I think up to 14%. And it will be interesting to see if people push real hard there. I mean, if you're thinking strategically and want the race to be as fast as possible for GC, then you actually don't want the group to splinter too early. You would really like to have as big of a peloton heading into round two as possible, so you are still quick until you get to the climbs the second time around. I mean, ideally, even until the final climb, you want to have as many people as possible because that really makes a difference on all the downhills. But that has to balance out with actually winning the race. So now we're in the 6% range for the incline. There will be a small relief here in a few seconds, and I see Joachim already going off the top or off the front. But he's not going too hard yet. Let's see if he will ramp it up now here on the steeper section now. I think he correctly doesn't want to overdo it here. If you do want to break away in the first lap, it's probably best to do it on the third climb, because then you have a little more time to gain some distance. Otherwise, you'll probably just be caught by the big bunch on the two downhills. But I think in general on the first lap, it's not a great strategy to try and break away unless you really, really want to go hard. You can try it on the second lap before Libby Hill, or just try to go hard up Libby Hill. But I think unless Joachim really wants to be aggressive, the race will only be decided on the final climb, where you can spew in as much power as you want and really get some separation before the false flat finish. So here it's gonna be interesting because all the anvil guys are obviously shooting off the front, and if you don't have an anvil and just super tuck, you're losing quite some meters here, and that isn't that big of a problem yet. But as you see, there is a separation here now, and if you go up now not fast enough, and then people get another anvil and go fast again on the downhill, then you might actually be caught out of position. So you have to ride strategically here a little bit between conserving the power and going fast enough. We're in Jan's cockpit now. He's in very safe position. These automatic camera changes are really annoying. He's in really safe position here. You don't want to be in first, so you still get some draft. As you can see, this is his draft value, which really quickly spikes up with the anvil here to like the equivalent of 1,000 watts is what he receives right now in drafting. And if you look at the minimap, these few guys here at the front, including Joachim, are actually quite a bit ahead of the rest of the group. So someone will have to punch through here to close this gap. And the field is really, really drawn out. So whether or not you have an anvil and how you time it can make quite a little bit of quite some difference here on this route. And now we're already in the third climb, the Governor Street climb, which is the flattest but also the longest one. Starts relatively tame and then spikes up to 7-8%. In the first group, we still have a lot of dragons. 5-8, I would say. You can recognize them obviously by the white jersey, which is actually the old World Tour jersey from Team Sunweb, who are nice enough to sponsor us with these shirts right now to give us a little bit of distinction in the peloton. Oh, there is someone going for it now, along with an Italian that's following him. He has 6 seconds now over the field. Let's check his data. Actually, I can see that he's 30 and he's in the 60 to 70 kilogram range. Nico Pella, the German guy here that we're watching, and the Italian guy, Nicolo, is only 19, also in the 60 to 70 kilogram range, but they really have a lot of work ahead of them if they want to keep the group away. Because in this cobbled climbs, you don't take the long way around. They will take an immediate left here and go back towards the descent, and they'll probably lose 4 or 5 seconds, I would guess, on the descent alone, and that will eat up almost all of the gap they have accomplished so far. And even on Libby Hill, the field will just move super quickly. So I have very little confidence that these guys will actually be able to stay away. I think they will be caught on Libby Hill at the latest. It might even be that the peloton catches them on this descent, depending on whether those two guys have an anvil now. Because there will be guys in the peloton that do, and the speed will just be insane. But I commend the effort. It's really nice that someone's going for it, and the two of them seem to be working together well enough. So let's see. 9 seconds now heading into the descent. Alright, one of the two has an anvil, which funnily might break them up. Yeah, see, Nicolo was doing 6-7 watts per kilogram and still lost the wheel of the German guy. And the peloton behind is at over 70 speed. They're at 74 and just catching up real quick. Yeah, it's brutal. You can already see the reminder of the breakaway, the broken up breakaway there. So Nicolo is caught. Nico is still going, but you can see the writing on the wall. He's still pushing 6 watts per kilogram though, but the speed from behind is just way too big for him to compensate. Yeah. So I guess the lesson we learned here is that you can't really break away. I think even on the climbs, all you can do is try to break individual people. I mean, this group now is down to 16 people, so all this effort was certainly worth it because the group has just shattered. But you can't really get away by yourself because the people that you drop on the climb, if they don't have an anvil, they have no chance at all. But you will be caught again by the people that do have an anvil. So in this lead group of 16 people, we have 8 or 9 dragons. So let's see, someone's going for it. So Jack from South Africa is going for it. Jan and Joakim have jumped after him. Joakim actually is the one that closes the gap here. Yeah, we have still Jan, Niels, Dennis, Alex, Julian, Benjamin, and I keep forgetting what the real first name of Flan E is, but a lot of guys, even with 7 or 8 dragons, my money is still firmly on Joachim. So I'm not expecting too much fireworks because the benefit just isn't there. You're too likely to be caught, but you can try to make it hard, obviously. You can try to break some people, but you're not gonna win on this first climb here. Fortunately, Zwift doesn't let me change the view anymore, so we're kind of stuck with the changes it does by itself. So let's see if anyone tries anything. We're in Jan's cockpit now. I think he's the most ambitious of the bunch, having won the monthly classification a couple of times in A. He really wants to defend that title. Oh, Benjamin is out, but he did do some work for the other guys. They're still going up at a relatively casual 7 to 8 watts per kilogram compared to what happened here if there were points up for grab at the banner. Joakim against 6 dragons and 8 other riders. Group anvil being deployed here by 4 dragons who are pushing off the front with that. It's an interesting move. I don't think it's gonna stick, but it is an impressive move. I think that Joachim will drag the rest of the group back there, but let's see. I mean, yeah, Joachim and a couple of others have caught up most, but it was a good move in the sense that the guys behind had to work really hard, push a couple of watts more to make it back to the lead guys, and that obviously matters because it really assembles a lot of lactate, and you have so little time to get that out of the system again and regenerate. A lot of guys picking up anvils here, so if you don't have the anvil, yeah, you see this guy, for example, sprinting at 10, 11 watts per kilogram, as did, yeah, here the same. That it's really brutal. Neil's just trying to sprint so they can catch up the guys. There's basically five guys that were caught out without an anvil, and despite sprinting so hard, they couldn't stay with the group. And now at 3-4 seconds back, I think the race is over for them because they are not gonna be able to close and then still have enough power to actually win the race. So in the front group, we have now 4 dragons: Jan, Alex, Dennis, and Julian against Joachim, who's just started his attack. And as you can see, Jan is really ambitious. He's really trying to not let Joachim get away yet. Yeah. Slowing down now, he should try to get back in the draft. Yeah. And Joachim attacking at a casual 15 watts per kilogram here on the steepest section. And I think that's gonna do it. He just quickly got, and he's still going. I mean, look at this. It's just beautiful, but it's also really unfair that someone has this kind of power. And yeah, he very, very quickly got 9 seconds over most of the people. So Joachim's gonna win, and then everyone else is at 12, 13 seconds and now going for second place. And they have just a few hundred meters. You can see the banner coming up on the middle map. So you try to regenerate as much as possible, and then this sprint is deceptively long on the false flat, so you can't go too early or you will be caught. I think by now you should be sprinting, yeah. So let's see. Jan trying to take second. Yeah, Jan will take second. Or head off. Oh! Dennis rubbing Jan on the line for second place. Joachim is already in the clubhouse with a cocktail. But still pretty impressive teamwork, team demonstration here. I think with just 24 minutes, this is a really, really good time for the GC, and I'm unsurprised that no one was gonna be able to compete with Joachim. What I would take away from this for future races, because this still runs for the rest of the week, is you should really try to save an anvil for the last descent from 23rd Street down towards Governor Street, even though it feels like the feather should be the best power up because it gives you a second or two on the final climb. You saw that the people without anvil, even with sprinting, were completely annihilated on the descent. So you need the anvil to even be in the competition. The feather doesn't help you if you lose the front group because they just race away from you on the downhill. So yeah, really worth saving that even from earlier because that was the only time where it was really brutal. And that gives you a chance to compete in the final climb. And then if you don't have Joachim in your race, then you might actually be able to win. So much for this race. Thanks for watching. Please let us know in the comments if there's something you would like to change for these kind of racing streams. And we'll see you again soon with the Dragons Racing team. Right on.